they say all men are created equal. Shot! Master! I'll pull out the Glock! Full of suffering, succotash, son!
It's one of your nuts hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast. And yeah, we're here today on Thursday at the time of recording. That means that Dynamite was, of course, last night, or Big Business as this was branded. So that's what this episode is going to be all about. A nice rundown and review of that. So, Estelle, what did you think overall?
It were all right. Yeah, it were good. It were good. Obviously, I should say both of us watched it the next day. So,
Yeah, it
I mean, I don't know
wasn't
about you,
live.
but I mean, we all knew who was debuting, but
Yeah.
I did read about it on like Instagram, and then I read like a few matches. So I feel like it would have been different if I'd like watched it live.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you've got that like
But
shock and stuff.
yeah,
And
I think overall really positive. I mean, it was centered around the women. There was a lot more women's segments.
yeah.
The main event was fantastic, which we'll get into. And obviously the debut of Monet. Yeah, I mean, so to start with, it was kind of teased with the car door opening, and then she came out straight away, which I wasn't expecting her to come out straight away. I'd have thought that they'd have, I mean, we'll talk about, but I'd thought they'd done like a big angle or a run-in, or it
Really?
wasn't what I was expecting. Like, was it what you were expecting?
Yeah, it kind of was what I was expecting actually, because with what they did with CM Punk, I don't know, they kind of
Yeah,
it was like the worst hidden secret in the world. Everyone knew that he was going to be there in Chicago, his hometown, and then he opened the show and there wasn't. It was just whoa, this massive entrance to kick off the show, and yeah, so it didn't really surprise me that they tried to do a similar thing, and I liked it. I just think everyone knew that she was going to be there. Um,
yeah.
pretty much. And like if you're kicking it off with anything else, that like everyone's just gonna be on tenterhooks just waiting for that. So yeah, I did kind of expect it, and I thought her promo was pretty good. Like obviously she didn't kick off any big angles or anything. She didn't call anyone out. Name it. She didn't say what title she wants to go after. But it was
Yeah.
just great to see her there. I've always been a big fan of hers, so I'm just really excited to see her back in wrestling.
I have maybe a controversial opinion. I didn't like the promo. I
Oh, why
didn't.
not?
First of all, I respect Monet a lot. I respect what she did in WWE. She was a horsewoman, and I respect what she's done in Japan and how she's gone. And I really respect how she stood up for herself in WWE when,
Mm-hmm.
she was tag titles with Naomi and they both walked out.
For
I have a
sure.
deep respect for her. I think she's already got a strong legacy. I think she brings prestige, and I am excited for her to be there at the possibility of matchups and at the possibility of other women being taken more seriously. But I am not the biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to come out and do a babyface promo, and it was really just a bit sycophantic for me, maybe a bit,
That was a
just a
big
bit.
word.
You're acting surprised. That's a big word. No, it was just I don't know. And then I was expecting a heel to come out at least and intercept it, and it was just
Yeah.
a bit, a bit cringe for me, but not in a good way because she's trying to be a babyface, and I think I enjoy her more as a heel. But I get it, and I'm not trying to shit all over it because I think it's amazing that she's there, and the knock-on effect it had throughout the night and how it elevated the other segments and the match. Fantastic. But yeah, just from a standpoint of someone who does like her and respects her, but isn't like the biggest fan in the world. It was just a lot. And I hate a theme song. I'm sorry, that is terrible.
Oh
And I had to
no.
hear it about 10 times throughout the
Oh
night.
yeah. It
Just that
was
constant
on
chant of
repeat.
CEO, CEO. Like, I was like, I can't.
I kind of with that I felt like that chant probably would have caught on like organically if you let her run with it and that be her nickname. You didn't have to
It was
like
very like
force it
spoon
on us like
feeding.
that.
We always
Yeah.
talk about that, spoon feeding, and I don't like that. But I mean, obviously she had to change it because the New Japan one was just her going money every 10 seconds, and that isn't really
Oh
gonna
yeah,
work.
I have to say I prefer this one to that one. That one was quite irritating. Mm,
I mean, obviously the WWE one was the best.
yeah.
Um,
I,
yeah,
I,
she
s-
gave a shout. Sorry.
sorry, I was just gonna say that I see what you're saying about the promo, and when I was listening to it, I was like, some people are gonna hate this because
Yeah.
it was cheesy and it was just like, I'm so glad to be here, and it was like that real emotion. It wasn't like there
And
was
I get it,
no.
she's in Boston, in her
Oh,
hometown, and the crowd
exactly,
was
yeah.
amazing. I
So
get it.
this is what I was gonna say. They couldn't. I think she's better as a heel. I do agree, but they couldn't get her to get booed that night. You know what I mean? I feel like they had to sort of lean
Mm.
into the whole homecoming thing, and then down the line we'll see the character work from her because we know she's really good at it. But I think I like the genuine emotion of it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I was just going to say some interesting things that she said. One of the things that then circulated online was that she said AEW is the only place where this revolution can take place. And I wanted to bring something in outside with that. With There was a discussion. Well, Danielson's been popping off the past week. I don't know if you've seen. He's been popping off about all sorts. Um,
I've seen,
Apparently
yeah, quotes and
some of
things.
the stuff that Vince was coming to him and
Yeah,
asking him his opinion on AW, and that there was a circulation around the time um of the Baker match where she got face busted open, um and Vince commented that they would the people backstage agreed with Vince and WWE. We don't know who these people are, but there's a general consensus in WWE that women shouldn't blade. In WWE, there is no blading, but especially in the women's division, there is
no
no
blood at
blood, no
all.
violence for sponsors. Um, but especially with women, especially. Um, so I did think about that. People took that a bit because AEW's women division isn't of the highest prestige um currently. Um, and obviously that raised a few eyebrows. What do you mean this is the only place the revolution can start when there's a lot of other women's divisions and other companies that are doing it a lot better?
Hmm.
Um, but I did just want to talk about that because I do think that there is other things that the division does. I hope this point makes sense that it does allow women to do that,
Yeah,
whereas in other companies it wouldn't. So that was a take that I kind of got from that.
yeah. I think you're right. Like yeah, the booking's not great, but they can push the boundaries a lot more. And
Mm. That's what I
I,
mean. And for her to come there, it
yeah,
might be a bit more interesting. I don't know.
yeah. I think she'll have more freedom there than she ever did in WWE, and that's probably part of the reason why
Oh,
she
she'll
walked
have
out of
anything she
WWE.
wants.
Yeah.
Tony's round her little finger. Come on, he proper loves her. He's
I
wanted her
saw a
for
tweet about
years.
5 minutes ago that said Mercedes is totally gonna politic and get Sammy Guevara fired. Mm.
My new favorite wrestler, then.
Um,
Seriously.
yeah, I've seen this discourse online, like, why is she taking shots? It's like I don't think she's taking shots at anyone saying things like
I don't
this,
think she
like
took any
directly.
shots.
No, it's just
I don't
like
think she burned any bridges or
no.
anything.
It's like she's saying, I'm in the best place to be, and obviously you're gonna say that because you're not gonna fucking bury the place that you just signed to, are you? You're gonna say nice
Yeah,
things about it. That's obvious. And I think people taking it personally need to just take a step back and just think about what they're doing with their life.
yeah. So overall, it was a good segment. It wasn't how I'd have done it, but it was fine. But
How would
I
you have done
can
it?
see how for other people it would have been good. Like I would have. I don't know. I mean, I understand in Boston and it sold 16,000 tickets, and that's what AEW needs is selling tickets.
Yeah.
It needs to get eyes on the product. And I suppose in a way I get it. You advertised it before, so hopefully the viewership will be up this week. But at the same time, I'm just one for just a run in, just a shock entrance. And at
Mm.
least if you're gonna do it this way, get Britt Baker out, get Jimmy Hayter out, Tony Storm. I'm quite surprised that we never saw Tony come out, that she's still doing the Diona stuff, but yeah, that's just me.
Yeah,
But maybe that's because
I
I'm
was
not the biggest fan of
definitely
her.
Yeah, I know. It's totally fair enough. Like everyone's got their own tastes. I was expecting someone to come out and interrupt her. I was kind of like,
Mm.
okay, so who's gonna come out? What's gonna happen next? And nothing really happened next. But I suppose that keeps us wanting to tune in next week because we it's already been confirmed that we're gonna hear from her next week. So,
Yeah.
and obviously things happened later in the show, which we'll talk about when we get to it. But yeah, I
I'd
think
rather take
it's
that presentation than nothing,
yeah, yeah,
than just a random debut on Collision.
mm-hmm,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, so next up. So as you can imagine, I was like, all right, that was all right. It wasn't what I was expecting, but and then the next thing happened, and I didn't enjoy the next thing either. Luckily, the show bounced back at the end. So the next thing is Joe calls out Wardlow, and we have that. And then after that, Adam Cole does an Adam story time with Adam Cole sort of thing, and he puts over Wardlow in this very over the top, dramatized retelling. And then we get the match, and I just could not give a shit. And the promos just pissed me off because you're not making me believe that he's a legitimate threat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one believed that Wardlow was gonna win this match. It was obviously never going to happen, and I think it suffered from its position in the card as well because it should be a main event match if it was like it's got every making to be a main event match. It's Samoa Joe defending his title, but the build obviously wasn't there. It was straight after Mercedes, who everyone was pretty much there for and was the only thing that anyone cared about. So it was sort of like a come down from that, and it wasn't a good match. It was pretty boring, and yeah, no one really cared. And no, Wardlow's not over in any sense of the word, so he wasn't a legitimate threat. And yeah, it just was meh. It was meh.
Yeah, for me, it's about, like you said, believability. I don't even, which is ridiculous because if anyone could take him, surely it'd be Wardlow. He's massive. He's
Hmm.
looks great. He's got the look, but I do not believe it. I'd have more belief if Darby Allin got in, and I'd have more
Yeah.
belief in that because I just do not see him as a contender
Hmm.
at all. And but I understand it makes sense and it's a story point to get from A to C, and this is plot B that we have to do the Wardlow stuff. We have to. I get it,
Mm.
but it's so uninteresting. It's so uninspiring. We all just want to get to Swerve and Hangman, and we want to do that. We don't want to do this, and yeah, it just like you say, it was a come down after the debut, and then to that. And it wasn't the main event, and I'm glad that the women's match was the main event. But
Oh
if it's
yeah,
for the
for
title,
sure.
it's just a bit strange.
It was kind of
But then
like, yeah, we know this isn't the a title match deserving of this spotlight. It's just meh. That's what they
yeah,
were giving us, and that's what you take from it is that there was no real energy behind it at all.
yeah. I mean, Swerve came down at the end with a chain,
Oh yeah,
so that kind of saved it.
and security would try to fight him off and stuff. But I
Which,
think,
you know, is interesting that he's still doing stuff like
Mhm.
that while being babyface. I like that he plays that into his character, that he's always got that sort of edge there.
Yeah, um, definitely, and I think that contrasted with Wardlow. I mean, it was just totally summed up by that sign and the crowd
Exactly.
that
If
was like,
Wardlow's in, you've hit the nail on the head. If Wardlow's part of this devil group and he's the ultimate threat, why is Swerve coming off more threatening, who was supposed to be the face with a chain?
mm-hmm,
You're
mm-hmm.
so right there. You're so right.
And there was a sign in the crowd that someone had right on hard cam which said Wardlow is boring. And like there was this camera angle where you could see that he looked right at it, and I was just like, yeah, that sums it up just perfectly. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad because like I think he's a nice person. I
Oh
think
yeah. He's not
it's just
terrible.
one of those things where he can't do anything more. He's just at his ceiling.
Yeah. And as well,
But
like when he feigned that injury, and that's how he sort of tried to get the upper hand, and commentary were trying to put it over like, oh, we could win. But even they weren't convinced. And it was like, did he feign
yeah,
injury? Yeah, obviously he did. And then he gouged Joe's eyes. But the referee was looking. So what was the point? Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and as you said, Joe won with the Kahina clutch, and that was that really.
Oh,
Um,
the my favorite part was when Joe kicked that security guy off the stage when he was walking up the ramp. It was like,
yeah,
yeah, that was funny. Just sort of,
Joe was brilliant. Joe was great throughout the whole thing.
yeah, I love
Really
Joe.
enjoying Joe's title reign, and I'm enjoying him being on TV every week and doing something. I do appreciate that,
Hmm.
definitely. Um, but yeah. So that happened, and then this is when it brought me right back.
Oh, I'm sure it
We've
did.
got oh, it did. We've got the new rendition of the Elite, Okada and the Bucks, and they had a bit of a segment backstage, and seeing him like in segments, it makes perfect sense why they put Okada with them because the books really work as his mouthpiece in a way
Yes.
where it's not like they're speaking for him. And he's always been better as a heel. Like Okada, even though he's been the star of Japan, he's always been had that cocky, arrogant. He's always carried himself with that swagger, even when he's been face. Like,
Hmm.
so it's just great. Yeah, they just they just they're just really doing it for me. And I'm so excited for when Kenny gets better, obviously, and he's going to come back and he's going to confront him, and we're going to get Okada Kenny at Wembley, obviously.
Oh, of course. It's because it's what we deserve. The interviewer, I can't remember his name, sorry. They interrupted him.
I can't remember his name either, that's why I didn't say it. But
Yeah,
yeah, the
it was
guy who was
the
interviewing.
dude. Not Renee, the other one. And they were like,
Not Arjo.
yeah, the other one.
Where was Arjo? I'd have enjoyed it even more if Arjo was there. He would have sold it so well.
So true. Yeah, and then when Okada eventually did speak, it was just brilliant, and he forced him to sing "Happy Birthday" to Matt, one of them, Matt and or Nick, I don't know. But yeah, and it was just really funny, and it was really entertaining, and I'm just like, I love you as a dickhead. You're a dickhead, but I'm here for it. And
Yeah,
yeah, like you say, he suits
exactly.
that really well.
And then we got this match was so good. This was my favorite match of the night. We got Penta, Pac, and Eddie versus the Bucks and Okada. But yeah, he just came down. Eddie just came down talking absolute mad shit, which I appreciated greatly.
Yeah, and I loved like that. It's quite a random team, but I love them. And I think I love all three of them individually.
Oh
And
yeah,
they work as a team because they're all just violent and out for revenge. Anyone who chats shit, they just want to wrestle them. So it definitely worked, and it
I
was a
just can't believe.
fantastic match.
Yeah, I just can't believe we have this all the time. We have Okada all the time, like
Oh, it's
on tap.
crazy.
It's just and in this match, he didn't like somebody would. A Copeland maybe, I hate to say it, but lose that charisma and that sort of charm about them being in these types of six-man matches. But the aura of Okada was not lost. It was
Oh yeah,
consistent throughout the whole thing. Every time he stepped in between those ropes, it felt impactful. I don't know whether that's just because, you know, it's the start, but it just I don't know. It feels like I don't know. And
like
I wasn't sure how
special.
well he would translate to American TV. I thought it would rub off quite fast. Again, he's only just come in, but yeah, his whole aura and throughout the whole match, it was sort of threaded with him and Eddie. Eddie wanting Okada,
Mm.
Okada sort of feigning, getting away, and then just getting in a few cheap shots on Eddie. So that was great.
Yeah,
Um,
and I loved all the cheap shots and the heelish
yeah,
behavior. It's like why wouldn't they do that? It's so in character.
yeah, like the way they won, Eddie got low
Yes,
blowed, and
I
with the
love that.
Rainmaker,
I
oh, it was
love
just
that
so
finish.
good. And who better than Eddie to go against the corporate EVPs? Like who better than what better pissed off babyface could you pick for that role? And again, Okada holds up the Continental title, so clearly that's in
Yeah.
his vision.
Another thing that I really liked about this match was Taz on commentary. He was just so funny. And when he started going on about like he was calling out people in Boston who owe him money, and it was just really funny and had nothing to do with anything, but I really liked it because it was so funny.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever get this, but during some matches, I actually tune out the commentary, which it
Oh
actually
yeah,
irritates me because I get so into it. And in this, I was so into it that I can't really remember the commentary because it was so fast paced, and I was so, oh, and like just in my room, like what? Like I don't know.
I definitely do that
Sometimes the
sometimes.
commentary feels quite quiet, like the audio levels. Like you
Like
actually have to listen.
that's definitely I've definitely noticed that, and I thought it was just me, or maybe like because I watch it on my laptop and like this, maybe I was like, oh, maybe the speakers just aren't very good. But yeah, I know what you mean. I do have to like proper concentrate to be able to
Yeah,
hear it. I think maybe the background noise is super loud or something.
yeah. I mean, they are closer to the ring now. I don't know if it used to be always like this
Oh yeah,
or
because yeah,
what.
they used to be really far away, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, it was fantastic and super excited to see what happens next week. Didn't they announce that it's a card at Eddie next week, or am I just making
Yes,
that up?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah. So
think
we'll
so.
get to see that next week, which is super exciting. Speaking about next week, we got a video package for Christian versus Adam Copeland next week, which is an I Quit, but it's a career versus belt match. Um, what the hell are you thinking about that? Because I'm so intrigued. I have no idea what to think.
Yeah, I'm actually proper excited to watch Dynamite next week, and I can't remember the last time I
Mm.
was so excited to watch Dynamite. Um, don't know what to expect at all. I feel like they're probably gonna go hard or go home.
Yeah, I mean, it either has to be wins the belt or there's some kind of disqualification but did they even have disqualifications in those types of matches? Usually it's kind of a no holds barred type situation in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's so intriguing. And yeah, can't wait to see. Speaking of being excited for Dynamite though, um, don't you feel like, because we haven't spoken about on the podcast because we missed it last week, the new presentation and stuff,
Oh yeah.
with the new graphic and the tunnels are back, but
Yeah.
with Osprey, now Monet, Okada, um, I'm missing someone off, I feel like. But with all these new people coming in, it really has just rejuvenated the whole product. And I'm glad they've rebranded and they've got the new title song as well. And I'm really glad they've done that. Um, they have kind of gone back a bit with the colour scheme. They used to have
Mm,
that at the original and the tunnels. But it's like you say, it is really exciting at the minute. It's really refreshing and
it is.
I
It
don't know,
just
I'm
it
just feeling really positive about the product at the minute.
yeah, it feels like a fresh start. And I've
Yeah, a
seen a lot of
total reset. And
yeah,
he's tried to do that many times, and he restart like, oh, it's the new season of Dynamite, and it's like, is it? Is it? But yeah, this totally does feel like say new start.
yeah. And I like the new logo, the new Dynamite logo. I think it looks quite crisp and fresh.
I really like it as well.
It really sort of it just suits the product. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like it just the the branding and like the messaging of it, I'm just like, yes, that it just reflects the product. I don't know
For the new
why,
almost
but
generation of people
mm,
that are in it, which is a bit more multinational, is that the word? With
mm,
and I mean, especially since I forgot to say this earlier, but we did get it announced that Forbidden Door is not only going to be New Japan, it's going to be CML and Stardom. So that's
wow.
really exciting news. Really
Yeah,
exciting. So it
that's
is a
brilliant.
whole new leaf
Yeah,
turned.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
It's like diverse, I guess is the word you'd use. Like there's like influences from everywhere. There's wrestlers coming from all around the world, and
yeah,
there's loads of different styles. Like we talked about this. I think we've talked about this before. Like there's different types of wrestling. There's something for everyone.
yeah. And one thing I do hope, which is happening at the minute, and I think it's why we're both enjoying it so much, is the same people are on TV each week.
Mm-hmm.
As in the next segment, Osprey comes out, and I know you're not the biggest Osprey fan, but it is nice to have consistency and have the same people each week,
Oh yeah,
especially
because
on your
yeah,
flagship show.
yeah, because you want to know the story. tell a story one week and it should continue next week. It makes complete sense. It makes more sense than spreading yourself too thin and trying to give everyone a spot on a 2 hour show. I mean, they've got
which is what
Collision
it has
and
been like.
Rampage. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, as I was saying, the next segment, Shivani comes out and he announces Dynasty on the 21st of April. That's the next pay-per-view. Very exciting. Um, and that we got the first match announced for that card, Danielson versus Osprey. Osprey puts Danielson over as a strong opponent. Um, and he kind of called out the criticism of the Tiger Driver 91 and the controversy of being a safe worker, taking things too far. Thought that was interesting. I was hyped up from it, definitely. And there was a bit of, it was kind of a bit samey in that it kind of gives shades of Jericho in All in that it's this
Mm.
person's really good. I need to beat them to be the best wrestler, which it doesn't bother me this time, but I get it because it is Danielson, and it makes more sense to say that about Danielson than Jericho. But I just hope that isn't like the next program. It's a bit of a different story rather than I need to be the best, so I need to beat the best. But then how many bests are there? Because there can only be so many bests, you
Mm.
know. So, um, but yeah, it hyped me up. It did hype me up.
Yeah, even as someone who admittedly I don't like Osprey's promos. I don't
Mm.
know, they're just not to my taste. But yeah, it did get me hyped for this match because everyone knows it's going to be an amazing match. And like as a
Hmm.
wrestling fan, how can you not be excited for that?
Yeah, yeah,
But
definitely.
I
Can't
mean,
wait.
the main thing I took from it was that it's absolutely hilarious. All these American people chanting "bruv." It's just what? Stop that.
Oh dear. Yeah. And again, like with Okada, it is really great to just see him be on standard programming. That's just our norm now. That's just our life.
It's
We just get to
crazy.
see him every week. Um,
Spoiled. We're absolutely spoiled.
we are spoiled. Um, so yeah. Next up, we got the Diona backstage segment, and she called out Tony Storm. It was short, but it was nice to have another women's segment.
Yeah, I
Um,
liked that she was
and a
given a
follow
chance
on.
to actually show a bit of personality and have a bit of story for them if they're going to wrestle again. At least we know why, and it's been set out for us. Yeah, I thought she was
Yeah,
quite good in that.
yeah. So that's something to look forward to. Hopefully it can be a bit better than the match at Revolution. Um, and then we got actually I lied. This was my favorite part of
All
this
right,
show.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
I love this.
But I
Oh, it was
know
the gift that kept on giving. It was Jay White versus Darby Allin. Obviously, Darby is finally going to Everest, so we knew he was losing. We knew he's getting written off, but my God, what the hell was he wearing at the start even? Because the camera didn't catch it. I was thinking, what the hell is he wearing?
I'm glad that you said that because I
He didn't
always
come
have
down
a
on
problem.
skateboard either.
I always have a problem with his gear beyond like what he was wearing in his entrance. Why? What is with like the booty shorts and the tights underneath? We need to change that up because it's
Maybe
always
like
been weird.
2011. You just need some
Yeah,
leg warmers, and it's like year six disco.
exactly.
I
I've said
think I
this.
wore that to my year six disco.
I've said this before, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "No,
No, it is
trust me.
horrific. It's
It's the
horrific.
shorts and tights
And the
combo.
shorts are like proper short, like they're like
They're the
proper
booty
short.
shorts."
The booty shorts. But yeah, he had this whole mask on and this whole like cover on his head. Didn't come down on the skateboard. Wasn't really explained commentary. We just went, "Oh, that's a new look," and we just moved on from it.
We'll just brush over that one.
Um, so this had everything you could have expected. Darby Allin getting injured in 1,000 different ways.
Hmm.
Um, he did sell the back quite well at the start, but then
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of got lost after a few bumps, and we stopped kind of selling it. And then we'd remember that we need to sell it. It was just a
yeah.
bit.
It wasn't the most effective. I think he kind of thought that because he had all the bandages around, because obviously he
Mm.
yeeted himself into some real glass last time we saw him, and I think he thought that these
Which he did.
bandages would would kind of like just sell it for him and like make him look injured. I'm not saying that he didn't,
But if
like
he's
he
taking
said,
a spot on his back and he's getting his back worked over, there's one point where I remember something happened. He got thrown somewhere on the ring, and he was fine. And then 10 seconds later, he's like, and he like remembered. Oh, it was so
yeah, yeah, it was like he tried, but he needed to give a bit more.
because he's so used to not selling things. It was a bit awkward. That suplex onto the chair though.
Oh my God. I was just like, why? And as well, the apron bump, the coffin drop
Yeah,
onto the
the
apron,
coffin
like,
drop onto the apron, just
what is the
gnarly as
need?
hell.
You're going up Everest in like 2 days, just take a chill.
And the post-match angle is Jay White is going to shatter his ankle, which does happen in the end. That's enough to take you out. I understand that you want to
Yeah,
look, maybe the logic is I want to look hard and I want to look like it takes a lot to put me away. But like the ankle thing and being beat down in a match would have been enough. Or one of
oh,
those spots.
100%.
Pick the coffin drop or the chair. You don't need both.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so obviously he did the coffin drop. Gets in for the 10 count. Blade Runner though, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was sweet. And because
Stunning.
because there is bias there. I do love Jay White a lot. Don't really like Darby. It was great.
No, it
Um,
was. It was just like, it was Jay White just being a complete shithouse. Just like, yeah, he's just thinking to
screaming in
himself,
his face the whole
lol,
time.
waiting for Darby to do that big comeback. Oh my God, he met the count. He's like, fuck you, and just put him away straight away. It was chef's kiss.
Brilliant. It was chef's kiss, I agreed. And then the post match was so interesting. So the guns, I mean, we always talk about overbooking, and this was on the risk of being overbooked, but it wasn't. It was just perfect. It was just perfect. So the guns come in for the post-match beatdown, and as I said, they get the chair set up on Darby's ankle. Jay's got the bat, Sting's bat, ready to shatter it, but then out come the Acclaimed, um, who sort of neutralize the situation a bit. Billy Gunn gets in Jay White's face, takes the bat off him. Jay White lets him take the bat off him, then just picks up a chair and just smashes him. And I was so happy when this happened because I'm ready for this situation to be broken up.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we all knew that that sort of coalition wasn't really going to last. Like, you couldn't keep that up. The Bang Bang Scissor Gang, like, it was just kind of it was fine, but them separating is going to be much more interesting than
it
them
was
being
fun.
friends.
Um, and then the Guns beat up Caster and Bowens with the belt, and this shatter out Darby's ankle anyway. It was brilliant.
Right, I thought it was so funny that like the Acclaimed were trying to take Darby out. Like they were like, holding him, helping him up, like walking away. The dad got hit in the face, but then they turned around like after it happened. They didn't notice until afterwards. They just dropped Darby on the ramp, and then they got back in the ring, got
Yeah.
totally beat up. So they didn't help anyone. They just dropped Darby on the floor. The dad was knocked out, then they got knocked out. It was just like they tried their best, but they didn't succeed.
We've got Hook and Jericho versus the Gates of Agony. Um, just what the hell is Hook doing? I, I feel like out of most people, I've kind of stuck with the Jericho thing for the longest. It's taken me longer to get fed up, but I'm fed up now. I'm on the train of everyone else. I've had enough. I've had enough, guys. I've had enough. I'm sick of seeing him just attach himself to people with potential.
I
I'm sick of
know,
it.
I know. I literally, can we just save Hook from this nonsense, please? Because I get that, like, this is the thing. Like you said, Jericho attached himself to someone with potential. It's like they want to give him the Jericho rub, but like at this point, Jericho's not like as elevating as they
But it's
think
not.
he
It's the
is.
opposite. He brings him
Yes, that's exactly what
down.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
I mean, Hook had a great showing. The Germans were great. I did enjoy the Red Rum Lion Tamer, and obviously the Red Rum was the finisher. It was a great showing of Hook.
Well, Hook was literally wrestling for the championship not that long ago. We're past, like you said, we're past the point of him needing to be put over by someone else. He just doesn't need it. He's over. Everyone loves him, and I think putting him with
Yeah,
Jericho is just gonna it's gonna make him lose that momentum.
He's always put with people. We had Hookhausen, we've had him in The Best Friends, we've had him in so many different things, and those were enjoyable things, don't get me wrong, but it is time that we sort of break out and give him something for him to sink his teeth into. He's not the most dynamic character, although I do enjoy his character because it is something different. He is just kind of that quiet, badass type vibe. Um, he's very Gen Z. So next up, we got a Kyle O'Reilly segment, which is very wholesome. He called out Brian Keefe for his first return match in 2 years on Collision.
I mean, the only thing I really thought about this was that Kyle looked remarkably like a dude named Kyle. He was just looking like a dude.
Just needed a monster energy. He
Yeah,
was just looking like some dude. He looks tired.
he really
He looks
does.
tired. But yeah, hopefully his first match back is good. I shall be watching Collision to see. Um, it's not what I would have done, but maybe he just doesn't feel confident. Maybe he needs like his confidence building up. Maybe he's not ready to go into a massive program yet.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fair enough. I think it makes sense to sort of warm people up to him a little bit more before launching into something big, especially if he's not going to be
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
Undisputed Kingdom. He's going to go his own way. I guess it would make sense that he sort of builds up to something and starts, I guess, kind of from the bottom.
right. So then we got the main event, Willow versus Riho. Well, earlier on, we'd have a tiny segment where Mercedes came in and wished Riho good luck, which was nice to just, keep her threading throughout the show. Um, and I was so happy that, especially for Willow, that she's the main event, that she finally got off flowers. It's not necessarily as new for Riho, um, but it was lovely that she got that recognition. The match was fantastic. It was
Yeah,
the level of women's wrestling that it's what should have been presented to us at Revolution with Diona versus Tony. That is the level that it should be at.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it was an excellent match. I mean, yeah, I totally agree. Like having Willow in the main event was lovely, and I think because you had all that hype with Mercedes and people were thinking, is she going to get involved? That made it feel even bigger than it already was. I mean, there wasn't all that much build to it really, but it was still an excellent match between two amazing wrestlers in and of itself. But then to have that kind of in the background made it that much better. And I was really glad that they had that video package before it where they kind of explained that there's a connection between Willow and Mercedes, and that laid that out really nicely.
I have to cut that out. I have to listen to the whole thing back. Oh my God, it's gonna be a nightmare. But anyways, yeah, and I enjoyed like the clash of styles as well. Um, Willow's quite heavy hitting, obviously. She always reminds me of like Glow, like those Glow type 80s wrestlers. She has the
Yeah,
look and
you're so
the way she
right.
wrestles as well. It's very vintage, classic. Riho style. Even though she's so tiny, she carries that like fighting spirit, and she
Yeah,
was really hard hitting during this match, especially when it spilled out onto the apron. Some of the stuff that they were doing was just, and it was so fast as well. The pace was so fast, which is something that I think women's wrestling can sometimes struggle from. Is the pace is not
yeah,
as fast as the men's for whatever reason. But obviously it is attainable. I'm not saying that it is, and this is like the caliber that every female match should be at. And obviously they got the time, and maybe they felt more confident because they were given trust and
hmm
they had the main event, so they felt like they had to go all out rather than feeling dejected, like, oh, I've only got 10 minutes. So not to say that they don't try as hard, but I do think it elevates their self-esteem and their confidence, and that this is what we get from it.
Oh, definitely. Because, like, yeah, like you say, it's the trust, and when they feel like they're being trusted, and as well, it'll be a little bit of pressure as well, probably making them perform better. Because, like, we're in the main event, we've got to deliver. So it just goes to show that when they are
Mm,
put in that position, they do deliver. And it was just
yeah.
exactly a main event match. It just fit that bill perfectly, and the crowd were really into it.
Yeah, Willow picked up the win with the Doctor Bomb, and then there was a post-match beatdown with Sky Blue and Julia Hart, which I'm not as into, but yeah, started beating down Willow, and Monet came out to make the save,
Yeah,
pretty
I
much.
I kind of felt for Julia and Sky because when the lights went down and everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's gonna be Money! Oh my God!" and that kind of set them up a bit for failure because obviously it wasn't her. It was it like the camera came back and it was Julia Hart stood there and it was kind of like, "Oh, it's you." And that was I felt a bit sorry for her in that position, but yeah, I don't really know what they're trying to achieve with Monet like coming out to help Willow. I guess maybe it's leading up to put them two in a tag against Julia and Sky, but for me, it's a little bit lukewarm rather than just like going straight in with Willow versus Mercedes and then for a chance at the TBS title maybe like further down the line, and that's what they're fighting for. I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, they're friends, I suppose. After we kind
Yeah,
of positioned them as
and
enemies
for
before
the
the match.
TBS title as well. Yeah,
It would
the
elevate the
TBS
title.
title as well. It's the second title. It's not as yeah, but you wanted to go for Tony Storm, surely. But I don't know. It's still really interesting. Like I say, it does elevate those around her, and I think going forward there will be a program probably with Willow. I think that's probably where we're heading towards. Um, but yeah, I mean they've established her as a babyface, so she came out and made the save. I hope she turns on Willow soon though, and we get the heel, arrogant Monet. Because that to me is when I think of Monet, her character to me, the way I've always read characters, she's all in the ring, of course, all about herself, all about the money, all about her ego. She knows she's the shit. She's the greatest female wrestler. She's the one who did the women's revolution, you know. She's the boss, she's the CEO, and she's just there to get that bag and leave. And she's a one-man woman. I've never taken her as a baby face who I'm here for the whole division. No, you're just here for yourself. And like that's how I've always read the character. So that's kind of the believability for me. I
Yeah,
just do
she
that.
delivered that really well. I think hopefully we'll be leading up to that because it it's what she does best. Obviously, it'd be good to see her do something else, but like just being a straight up babyface is just nowhere near as interesting as that.
It's just a bit weird. It's just a bit weird is the thing. It's not what I'm used to. Um and anyway, the show ended with just Monet celebrating with CEO, CEO back again. Um, but I suppose it is nice that the whole episode was for Monet. Start, she got a bit in the middle, and then the end, and it was threaded through nicely.
Yeah, it
And that's what
followed up
people
on the
pay for.
hype.
People bought the tickets to see her, so they got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the show. Pretty good.
Yeah,
Solid
I
eight
thought it
out
was
of
pretty
10 for
good.
me, maybe.
8 out of 10, yeah. Yeah, I would say probably similar. It all seemed to flow pretty well. I quite like the pacing of it, and we go from something quite big to something quite small, and it was just and I liked, like you said before, the fact that we had the same people coming back, the same faces, and these stories developing. That was good. And
And they're
it was
coming
an
back next
entertaining
week as
show.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the follow up, I think.
I'm not trying to be a viewership person, but I am intrigued to see whether Money did get a pop in the ratings. I'm very interested to see the breakdown this week. Um,
mm, yeah, it'll be interesting, yeah, like you say, not to be a viewership bro, but it's intriguing, this sort of stuff. You want to know if people.
viewership, bro.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully, yeah, we'll hopefully be back next week to review Dynamite again and see what the follow up was from all this. Hopefully, looking to like develop the podcast as well and maybe introduce some more segments when we get more used to it. We are very new to this, so if you've got any feedback, be nice, but we'll obviously be happy to hear it and yeah, we want to obviously get better. So let us know what you want to hear. And don't forget to please give us a rate on Spotify if you can. Like on YouTube and subscribe, all that. Really appreciate it. Yeah, hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, and let us know what you thought in the comments about this episode. Did you enjoy Monet's debut? Did you find it a bit mid? What are you hoping for a character, and who are you hoping for her to go against? Like, who, if you could pick? I think for me it's Britt Baker
Yeah, me too,
out
to
of
be
all
honest.
of the roster.
Like dream booking,
But
like
yeah,
down the
we'll see.
line, ideal end game. Money, Baker, like that's a draw. That's the instant draw.
Oh, that's a draw. That is a draw. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night, bye.
I wish you died in the womb!